Hi, thanks for joining the sessions. I think today we're going to talk about the digital technologies, which is everywhere now, and aligning with Huawei directions to move RE business into digital power. So we're going to touch a little bit on how digital technologies will grow or improve renewable energy sectors as well. Okay, first we touch about how much of annual traffic, internet traffic that moving along in our daily life now. If you could look at the data in the past, more than 20 years, 1997, it's only about 60, I think, petabyte is a new term for me as well. And then it moved to 10 years later, 54 exabyte. And then it goes to 2017, 1.1 zettabyte, and now 2022 is 4.2 zettabyte every year for the internet traffic. We can see that appliances, renewable energy, our everything of our life, it goes digital. So it's more than 3.5 billion people are accessing the internet every day. So what is digitalization? Is that a new era in renewable energy or in energy sectors as well? Then we look at, on another hand, we look at the road to net zero carbon by 2050, which is set by Malaysia as well. And there's a lot of countries globally already set these directions. So how the next decade will look like and how the digital world will impact clean energy ecosystem as well. So if you look at the carbon emissions that from the every kind of sectors, industry, power, transport play a very big contributions to carbon emissions by 2030. So how are we going to clean it up? A few things, a few sectors that are important for us to focus on. EV ecosystem, 60% of global car sales will be electric. I think all of us know Europe will be like 100% EV in 2030. Green hydrogens will be a game changer together with storage system that will enable more renewable energy into the grid. Solar energy storage will be one of the big part of to clean up the carbon emissions by 2030, by 2050. So we expect like 1,000 gigawatt of annual solar and wind additions into the ecosystem. And also more and more other clean technologies in heavy industry which consume a lot of energy in industrializations that will be converted to clean energy as well. And digitalization does play a big part in the ecosystem. So if we look into what is the impact of top renewable energy trends and innovations, we can look at artificial intelligence and big data, which is connected to digitalization, and also blockchain technology. It almost combined like 20% that this is the top trend of renewable energy industry. Okay, so evaluations of digitalization in energy sectors. So we actually know that it can integrate a growing share of renewable energy, which is by nature is an intermittent kind of source of energy, that it will deliver flexible electricity system that provide demand-side solutions that in energy storage, in any sectors that are difficult to decarbonize. So I think with the challenges to improve more RE into the grid is to balance the demand and supply. And digitalizations will surely become one of the solutions. Okay, when we look into a bit further, how digitalization for residential, for commercial and industrial, we can point out what is happening now in technology. Like example, for smart home technology, the energy conservations, we are automated system to control the home appliances. So home automations help us to use energy more efficiently. Smart inverter example from Huawei, it optimizes panel performance and accommodates integration, storage, and other equipment as well. And they are one of the safety features which AI enhanced capability, the FCI that enable the capability of the PV system to be self-diagnostic, so it will improve your yield as well. integrating the energy storage systems, EV charging stations, and Huawei also come up with the EV charging modules and also storage as well. So smart charging capability to optimize energy usage that to enable V2G and V2L as well. And also lastly, the optimizer is also optimize module performance through digital platform that will improve PVQ as well. Okay, next. What about energy digitalization for utility sectors? And we also have monitoring system, which is very important, that monitor facility performance anytime and anywhere from the control room. And now I think tracker system is more and more popular in even in Southeast Asia or in Malaysia as well. And the tracker now can communicate with the inverter that optimize the tracking angle, tube angle for the performance of the PV as well. Energy storage system, so is for sure that this is going to be the future that connect to the digital world, that will stabilize the grid and reduce the duress of the grid, infrastructure deferral, reduce constructions of the new power plants as well. So we believe the ISES or energy storage system will become game changers, will double up the RE penetrations as well. And also latest digital smart meter, other than monitoring the land, the load and consumptions, the digital smart meter also is ready for sandbox environment that will enable to adopt to any virtual power in the future. And we touched a little bit on the engineering side of the RE plant. We use digitalization to control the robotic cleaning in O&M services, in CNI, and also some rooftop projects as well. We have AIoT solutions to improve the solar plant performance, maximize the ROI. There are a lot of digital platforms that you can use to optimize the yield in the O&M performance as well. And also now we also have drone technology to optimize the O&M activities, which we use the drone to diagnose the hotspots or any issue on the string of the solar plant as well. We also have AIoT platform that you can do real-time monitoring control, big data analytics, machine learning and AI, and power forecasting as well. Which power forecasting is one of the important features in more and more solar energy plant being connected to the grid. So we have SCADA system that connected to the internet as well. Okay, that we're moving to another space, which renewable energy certificates or even carbon credit trade is more and more important. We have now had green EV that can also coming up with 100% green energy. We're buying racks in real time in Thailand, comply with global carbon programs, which is the IE100 as well. Then we have 100% zero energy buildings as well. So digital platform, which blockchain platform enable racks trading in anywhere in every country as well. And another digital platform that we can push it is the P2P platform, that it can gather the pool of prosumer and consumer to have P2P energy trading, which we let the load and demand and supply, settle at the distribution level, which will increase the grid, the solar penetration into the grid as well. Another benefit of digitalization, virtual power plant, a digital platform that links energy resources across different locations that will optimize the energy usage as well. Which, using digital world, we can enable virtual power plant as well. And also, I think recently we have, yesterday, virtual power purchase agreement that we will have digital platform to enable VPPA to the market as well. Lastly, I think we touched a little bit on renewable energy fintech as well. This is not on the engineering side, but this is more on the financing side, because financing RE projects is one of the most important challenges as well for us to overcome. So digitalization, we have a fintech platform to do eKYC, credit scoring, that to give a faster way to finance solar projects as well. And the next of the fintech platform will be asset tokenizations, when we liberalize financing by asset owner with issuing digital tokens to enable their blockchain technology as well. And also lastly, great opportunity for all individuals, for big, I would say for small, mid-size of projects that will enable more RE investors as well. So this is how I will conclude that digital world will change RE landscape in today's world. Thank you.
Hello, test, test. Okay. Hello, can you all hear me? All right. Very good morning to everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. For my topic, I will be talking about the digitalization and how we've been able to enhance the renewable energy sector, specifically in the areas of technology. Yeah. So before I begin, let us first lay out the land, to get the lay of the land on terms of the trends and challenges that are experienced with the advancement of technology as well as the adoption of renewable energy. As Davis had mentioned earlier, globally after COP21 and also all the major countries across the globe have dedicated and pledged towards carbon neutrality by a certain time frame, 2050, 2065, again depending on the country. So, however, with this we also then have to look at the trends and challenges that comes along with it. First and foremost, let's look at the growth of the industrial revolution, so to speak. As you can see, it is in tandem. As industries grow, as technology advances, therefore you will start to see that we progress on the different phases in our revolution of technology advancements. So, sorry, one minute here. So as you can see, the different countries like China, France, they all have a vision of digitalization. And I mean, let's face it, COVID really did give us a boost in digitalization. The requirements, there's a meme and a joke online which says who or what propagated the digital transformation in your corporation. Really, it was COVID, because everyone then went online. We had to go through Zoom, we had to do a lot of online meetings. So I think digitalization has shown its potential even in such a bad time. It has actually shown us what it can do to help us better ourselves or better our lives. And in this case, in terms of our energy management, yeah? And from the energy management perspective, of course, we're looking into various aspects from improving the yield to management, and more importantly, from my personal point of view, is safety. Yeah. So from this roadmap, as you can see here, we're looking into the fifth IR. Yeah, right now we are talking still in terms of the fourth IR, but we definitely will start to see that the world is going to be more interconnected, as you know, with technology advancement like 5G. So the next portion here is, of course, that the energy sector or the industry has been a little bit lagging in terms of digital transformation. For example, TNB, as we know, scadarization came in not too long ago, and that was one of the digital transformation, if you could call it that, yeah, because it is about information. We're taking watts and we're trying to convert it into bits, meaning information that we can have at a centralized location, as opposed to going to the site itself. So the characteristics, of course, is that with this you have the underdevelopment or underdeveloped applications of information technologies, poor data, interworking capabilities. All of this ties in towards what were the growth pains when it comes to the energy industry. So in terms of the EU and of course UK, they are moving ahead and understanding that digitalization is the next frontier to help propel renewable energy to the forefront, aside from other technologies like energy storage. So from this, you can see that we are looking at power electronics, so the bits driving watts. So this has been something that we have propagated since the beginning of our foray into this renewable energy sector. And for Huawei, we definitely knew that technology will be the way forward in terms of making sure that we have a very safe, reliable, and efficient manner of managing these systems. All right. So here we can see in terms of the rapid growth of solar PV. All right, and this is of course sourced from IEA. Yeah. And as you can see, we are looking into the terawatt era in this year alone. Yeah. So we are looking at such a large number of power plants being deployed in a global scale. So how do we manage such scale? You know, because again, in the traditional power plant sense, you only have one locality, and that is quite a huge sum of generation. Whereas now you have a very spread out, very distributed system, so to speak. So with this comes a lot of different challenges. How do you manage them in a very effective and efficient manner? And you'll see that these are my common themes in my presentation. All right. Of course, the next part is that we look at what are the troubles being faced at the present moment. So we can look at the high labor costs, and then of course the long delay of rectification. I believe this has been experienced in the past, but this is something that we hope to address with our present solution today. Yeah. And of course, when we talk about the user experience, it's obviously also going to be impacted because of all of these aforementioned problems. All right. So I won't go into detail because you can actually see all the different areas that we're looking at, right? From maintenance, from the operations, and of course to rectification. It all has a lot of problems that we need to solve. Last but not least, like I said, safety is a key and crucial factor in the push towards renewable energy adoption. As we know now, your power plants are no longer in some remote area, it's no longer in some secluded building, it is now on your rooftop. So therefore, safety is paramount for this point specifically as well. Of course, you do still have your utility scale, which is also remotely situated. But as we go into distributed systems and CNI, you'll start to see that this will become a more prevalent problem to actually address. One of it, of course, is that you can see that there is here. Actually, lazy pointers don't work on this, I remember. Okay, so the risk is that back in 2012, between 2012 and 2018, I just like to highlight this, that there's a specific big chain store in the United States that installed solar PV on their rooftop, and unfortunately, they had the misfortune of rooftop fire. Yeah? So again, what we want to do is that we want to be very holistic in the way we view renewable energy. We need to look at the pros and the cons, and we need to then address the cons so that we can outweigh everything else with the pros. All right? Okay, so digitalization of solar and energy storage. As you can see, energy storage is the final, I would say almost the final frontier for solar to become the main source of energy generation. Because unfortunately, solar is only dependent on the sun, and at night you're a little bit out of luck. So that's where energy storage does come into play, but the level of maturity is still yet to be seen. For the present moment, energy storage, as we know, is more for grid supporting services, as well as the smoothing of the curve, and so on and so forth in that regard. But as a main source of energy, we still are looking at the hydrogen technology as well, as you all know that it's being developed as we speak. So I will highlight the various areas from residential, CNI, and utility in terms of what digitalization is being brought to the frontier for Huawei. Of course, we're looking at, for the residential, the integration of EV charging as well. So no longer are we looking at subsystems of management from solar generation to energy storage and EV, but everything is now under one umbrella, under one platform. So this enhances the adoption, and we hope that this will also enhance the capability of being more efficient, right? RE is always one part of the segment, the other part is about efficiency. Now we're talking about efficiency of the generation, storage, as well as the charging of your EV vehicle. Alright, and here is one of the ways you can actually see that from the comfort of your home or from wherever you are at, your phone, your app, you'll be able to see every single aspect of the solar PV system, energy storage, and EV. We also have AI built into it now. So when you talk about digital transformation, it's no longer about just IT. Now we are talking about artificial intelligence. Yeah. So, and this is where artificial intelligence really brings the forefront of digitalization to a new landscape, a new frontier. Simply because now we are able to take different data and big data and analytics, and then we'll be able to then use that data in order to manage different things like power clipping that occurs during the day. We then store it, or if not, you want to charge the EV, but then, for example, the weather forecast says tomorrow it's going to be raining. So instead of the solar PV system going to the load, it goes to the battery first as priority. So all of this is done by your MR, what we call MR, the Energy Management Assistance. All right. So this is a part for residential. Now we look at CNI. CNI, of course, that is a little bit more rough on the edges, so to speak, that there's no elegant AI that is going to manage everything for you, but we do have other things that will help in this regard. We have optimizers, so later I'll share on what that is because it is a twofold approach on that. And then of course we have also energy storage solutions with it. So this is of course going to help with maximum demand, different other areas that solar and renewable energy now is able to support in terms of the manufacturing plant or the commercial and industrial facility. And then here is one part. What we need to do is to preserve your investment. How do you preserve it? Because solar PV panels actually do have a phenomenon that they do experience. It's called potential induced degradation. Now this has been talked about quite sufficiently. However, I think that the topic is not a close topic. A lot of panel manufacturers, yes, they say they're PID free, but that does not mean they are completely they are not affected by it. Yeah, PID. So our solution, what we do is that we actually integrate it into the inverter technology to enable PID recovery. Because PID requires negative grounding virtually. So when the inverter is functioning during the operational hours, it will not be able to do this. However, at night, when your inverter and your solar PV system is at rest, our inverter will continue to help to reduce the PID effect. So just for everyone's understanding, PID can actually reduce the panel output by 30% within the first 5 years. With my EDC background in the past, I've actually seen that for myself. So I do know the value that this brings in terms of PID recovery. So here's definitely a key example of digitalization where we have the capability of maintaining the panels automatically. The next part is of course, this is on safety. So as you can see here, on the left, on the right, my left. On the right, my right, your left, is when the AFCI is disabled. So as you can see here, the arcing actually continues to happen. And this is what we call a serial arc within the same polarity. Sorry, trying not to get too technical. But the serial arc will continue to generate the spark, which then will ignite the fire, the incident of fire. Whereas with AFCI enabled, so AFCI is Arc Fault Circuit Interrupter, I apologize. So that's what the acronym means. And on this side here, you can see that when it is enabled, the instance of the short circuit, which is simulated by this arc fault generator, when we introduce a gap in between the circuit, start to see that the spark will be extinguished within 2.5 seconds. Okay, and of course in this case it's faster. And what happens is that with this technology, we also have AI, where it's a closed-loop self-learning. So as the occurrence occurs more frequently, the system will be more accurate and faster to actually circumvent the instance of a fire outbreak. All right, and here is the part about the optimizer, but this is more highlighting on the safety. So the optimizer has two functions. One is to optimize your yield, whereby each panel is now individually functioning based on its circumstances. Say for example, the panel on the far left has shading factor, whereas the rest of the panels do not have. So that panel will only be affected, whereas the rest of the panels within the string will be fully optimized based on its availability of sunlight penetration to the panel. Whereas for the other part, the safety portion about the optimizer is that it allows for module level shutdown. Okay, and why is this important? Is because solar PV system, as you know, even if the inverter is off, when there's sunlight, these panels are still technically generating. But because the circuit is not closed, therefore there's no current running through it. However, in the instance of a fire or in the instance of maintenance, the risk of electrocution is still there and present because the DC cables coming down are still live. So therefore with this, it enables the shutdown so that the string cables are no longer energized in that sense. Yeah? So this is where the highest level, I would say, of protection and safety is achieved. And of course, communication-wise is using our PLCC via the DC cable. So all of these are the digitalization from the hardware to the software and to the artificial intelligence that are built into as well. Okay. The next portion that I would like to share about is of course on our inverter itself, the switch. Now the switch initially was only for the utility scale, but we are integrating it to all our CNI as well. And what this is that you literally now have a DC MCCB. All right, now let me clarify what that means. This switch can actually trip. Okay, and generally speaking, most DC switches are isolators, so they are low break switch or they are off-load. Okay, so and in this case, what we are propagating here is a higher level of safety, whereby the switch will be triggered, of course, with diagnostics and AI built in. So that's also another central theme you'll hear in all our technologies that we do. And what it does is it protects from fault that comes from the panel side all the way to the inverter, as well as the internal components, right? So you're talking about your short circuit bus, your half bus, all of these are also points of failure. So within the inverter itself, we're also trying to also do analytics and analyze the risk and the potential of it going to blow or catch fire. So this is again another advancement that is being brought to the frontier, and we are trying to make sure that from east to west. So you will have again reduction in your yield. However, with our solution, it will continue to do the analytics, and then it will tweak the tilt angles. So as you can see from the one in gray, the traditional tracking solution, it just follows the trajectory based on its geolocation. So it'll take historical data and then it'll say, okay, at this time of the year, this is the tilt angle it should be at, and it's all uniform. Whereas with the solution that we provide, it actually will be a mismatch of angles, but on purpose. It's specifically in order to avoid the shading that you can see that's illustrated in the above. And what this brings is at least 1%, if not more, in terms of yield, higher yield generation. Yeah? And this is all built in. You do not need to install a significant amount of additional hardware. Mostly it's just communication cables, which are already coming from the tracker system. Alright, so the next part is that to show you how this works and how does it translate into a graph. Alright, so we got big data analysis, like I said, big data learning. It also adjusts for the incidence of rain. So as you know, rain, in Malaysia especially, we have rain and sun at the same time, right? But what will happen is that the sunlight is diffused. So if at, say for example, let's just say in the morning at 10 o'clock there's rain, but there's still sunlight, but your tilt angle is not going to be on a flat plane because the tracking system does not know how to disambiguate between rainy and sunny season. With our solution, when it's raining, the system will be able to put all the trackers on a zero plane to get the highest penetration of diffuse lighting. Okay. So again, this is where AI and digitalization is going to help us to get the best yield from the system. Again, we are trying to get as much juice out of the sunlight in order to provide you with clean and renewable energy. Yeah. Okay, so the next part is on energy storage. Okay, so now this is the residential energy storage solution. So for here, okay, sorry, I hope I don't bore you because again, it's AI powered. And so again, it does the analysis of the internal circuitry in order to ensure that there is no risk of fire in the potential, of course. And then it has the capability of shutting down on a modular level, so you do not lose the entire utilization of your energy storage. Last but not least, this is a new feature that it actually has an internal extinguishing bag. Okay, so each battery pack has its own fire protection system built into it. I think that is pretty nifty. Of course, that's not so much a digitalization, but the management of it is the digitalization factor. So again, when we talk about digitalization, it has to be both hardware and software. It can't come independent of each other. They're not mutually exclusive. They're actually mutually dependent. All right, from the CNI portion, so this is the CNI one as well. So what we do is that we actually, with AI, we have proactive capability of doing analysis of the short circuit. Yep. And then of course, this also has a modular kind of a way, because inside it there are battery packs, and each battery pack will be operating independently of each other because it has its own optimizer. So similarly, like the optimizer of the panel, we also have the optimizer of the battery. This is how our 2 megawatt hour 20-foot container energy storage looks like for utility scale. All right, and from here you can see that we are trying to build in a lot more in terms of the capability of your charge and discharge. Now that's very, very important. So the only way you can achieve this is that each battery pack is able to be optimized individually, because as you know, batteries, when they are connected in series and then later in parallel, they are all then affected. If any one battery pack is low, all the battery packs are going to be low. And when I say low, we're talking about state of health. Okay, just some terminologies there to help understand it better. So from here, we optimize it from the basic building block, which is the pack, to the rack, and then of course the overall container. So this is where we are hoping that you'll be able to get the best yield, or rather the best output and charging for your energy storage. The problem with the traditional or the current solutions is that it is actually having a lot of current mismatch, okay? Because of the battery packs different. When you discharge the battery packs, they are not going to be equal in terms of its discharge. Some will be, say, 10%, some will have residual of 5%. So when you charge it back again, the rest of the battery packs that have not achieved 100% will not be able to continue its charge, because the first battery pack has already achieved 100%. So just to give you a bit of idea what that really entails here. All right, so I'll go a little bit deeper into the energy storage itself. So you can see here that this is the battery pack. So we have pack level monitoring. We have all the sensors inside it in order to get the data. So this is the digitalization portion again, hardware to give you information to help you manage your system better. Okay, so the flash video is not really playing in this one, so I apologize, but it does show a little bit about how the optimizers work, and to illustrate what I had just mentioned just now in terms of how it's charging and discharging of each battery pack. All right, last but not least, I think is also crucial is the capability to diagnose the system. To date, we have about 15 gigawatts, more than 15 gigawatts actually, of solar PV plants globally utilizing this solution. At a click of a button, you are able to run a diagnostics of the entire plant, and you'll be able to have sufficient information for your O&M team to be targeted in the way to carry out their maintenance. What do I mean? Basically, every string, because of our string inverter technology, it's connected at the string level, so we have that information. We have the capability to then run the IV curve diagnostics, much like your C-word or your HT Italia, where you go on site, you have to manually do it. This one, at a click of a button, at the comfort of your air-conditioned control room, you will have that information and that big data analysis to tell your O&M team, okay, which sector, which inverter, and which string, up to the string level. So all your O&M team needs to do is to just look at that string and then do the IV curve diagnostics of each panel, and from there you'll be able to then sift out the faulty panels. In Malaysia, we have one site that for LSS2 utilized this for about a year and a half. And in that time span, they were able to change 400 over panels in the first year, 1.5 years of operations. So that gives you a little bit of an idea in terms of what this does. Yeah? It really optimizes your output, and to ensure that your financial modeling based on the output is preserved. Okay, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper on the smart IV curve before I end. Okay. So here we talk about the scheduling. You can actually do a scheduling of the scanning, okay, and then also to get the availability diagnostics report. So we have 3 tiers of reporting. One is high level, tells you the overall plant, how much failure is being experienced by the plant, and then it goes to the individual building block of the sub-array, and then from there it tells you the O&M report, which panel to go to, or rather which stream to go to. Yeah. And all of this, of course, has been verified by TUV. So I think that's very, very important because we need to have the veracity verified by third party of the solution itself. And this is all part and parcel of the hardware as well, because you need to have a hardware that has high accuracy in terms of its sensors, yeah, in order to give you reliable information, actionable information. Okay, so last but not least is that in terms of monitoring, as what Davis had mentioned in his presentation earlier, monitoring is now being enhanced. So no longer is it just information being flashed to you and then from there you have to try to make sense of it. But with big data analysis and AI, we are able to therefore give you, not only tell you that you have a fever, but to tell you whether is it viral or is it bacterial. Yeah? So I think that is another enhancement that will enable O&M to be a lot more effective, efficient, and cost-saving. Yeah? I think that pretty much concludes my presentation today, and I hope that you've enjoyed the sharing. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Sulaiman Shahari. I'm from UiTM Salam. I would like to applaud your presentations. Without the industry people, without the technology, nothing can move. And I can see that the technology has moved forward very fast. So fast that I lost track. Perhaps I'm the older generation and you guys are the new young thugs. And congratulations on that. I have two main issues. Number one, having had this technology that you've been driving forward, digitalization. Okay, I won't make it too long, simple. I've been getting birthday wishes. My birthday is next week actually. I've been getting birthday wishes from I don't know where, don't know who. And I've never disclosed my number to anyone except you perhaps. You both have my numbers, but I never got any birthday wishes from you guys. I got from people whom I don't know, and I don't want to know, and I don't want them to know. Moral story is security. How do you guarantee security? I am not secured, I don't feel secure, and I do not want to see a cartelization of the digitalization of the technology. There's a new fear that I have, cartelization of this whatever technologies you have. How do you guarantee as a leader of the products? There's a morality issue. How do you address this? And the industry players, okay, the product leaders, the champions, okay, great. Go wherever you can. Go to where no one boldly can go. You go. Go ahead. How do you ensure that I'm safe? You are safe. And on the other hand, in addition to that, the industry people, industry players, we have a president here, very handsome guy, very hardworking, he's done a lot of work. I applaud you personally and professionally. But how do you guys address the morality issue of ensuring that we have the highest level of security on the implementation level? James on the technology level, Davis on the implementation level. And mind you, we are a developing country with a certain level of understanding, you know, I mean, I don't want to finish my sentence, I think you know what I mean. Thank you very much. So please address that. characterization of digitalized technology and how to ensure you address the morality issues on both sides. Thank you very much.
Can you hear me? Yes, yes. Okay, sorry, this mask is muffling my voice. Okay, very good question. You want to go first or? Okay. All right. It's a very good question, Prof. And thank you so much for your comments there. Really, cybersecurity has always been at the forefront of Huawei. I think Huawei has been badgered sufficiently on that topic, but nonetheless, I think that has also put us kept us on our toes. All right. We have a very complex geopolitical situation in which, because of that, I think one, by definition, we are always under the microscope. And as such, anything that comes out, really, you would hear about it even before I hear about it. Okay, one, I'm just saying that as a note, as a side note. On the practical standpoint, we definitely are very committed towards cybersecurity. In my office, we actually have a counter of cybersecurity and breaches, how many breaches that occurs in a year, and we do reset that counter after a year. So far, I've been in Huawei about 6 years, and so far I've seen that counter to be usually zero. Yeah, I've not really seen any. So to answer your question on the utility scale, it is actually a closed system because it is a standalone system server that is placed in the power plant itself. So therefore, unless you want to have remote capability, then your network that you are going to use will be the question or the answer to your question, where the cybersecurity lies within. Whereas if it is just encapsulated within the operations of the plant with no further external connection, you are technically safe from cybersecurity in that sense because it's not accessible from the external, right? For your residential, okay, I mean, in terms of what you had mentioned, capitalization of data, right? Fortunately, we do not put your IC number, we do not put your birth dates and all these sensitive personal information. It's not required for managing this. The key idea of digitalization that we are looking at is more on three key factors. One is to achieve the best yield, to get the best bang out of your buck that you've invested in. Two is, of course, is to reduce the requirement of manual O&M, to give you higher visibility, manageability of the plant. And last but not least is the safety portion. So in these areas of digitalization and in these areas of information that is being translated, the most I can see is that I can see your behavior of whether you use more aircons and things like that, or it's whether you use your EV significantly more or not. But that kind of information to me is not going to be worth the kind that Facebook or other companies do when you talk about big data mining. I mean, just for a little bit more information, Walmart was one of the first to do big data analysis. It started with their membership, yeah. So they will track your purchases and so on and so forth. So this kind of information is again different, yeah. So I like to disambiguate between the commercialization of data versus the data that what we are trying to do, which is actually more closed loop. All our AI is all closed loop, as you saw. It is self-learning within the environment in which it is installed at. So that is very, very crucial to answer your question. I do beg your pardon because I do not have. It will take a whole new session on cybersecurity to cover the full spectrum to give you a satisfactory answer. But for the limited time frame that I have, I would bring forth the points that I just mentioned. So I do apologize again in advance if this is not so satisfactory to you.
I expect James to answer it in more technology, like how inverter or even cloud security. Maybe Huawei is very big in a networking space. So Prof, I think this is a good question. That the more we digitize our asset, our system into the internet, world of internet, then we will have these cybersecurity issues. We come across that we do heard. In fact, in recently one of the thing EPCC or developer that they got hacked their servers, and I'm not sure whether they're using a cloud-based or using the in-house servers, but their data got hacked. But I certainly don't understand that what is the value of the data that people want to hack. But it does increase the concerns of the data security. Like example that we are doing the fintech platform to do digital financings to make it more faster. So all this privacy, all this data will become issues if you don't manage it well. I will see that digitalization or data security in RE space is one of same like other industry that go in, not only in RE only, but it take cost to do it. So we are a developing country. We are I would say a price sensitive market that we need to slowly educate the end market to pay for the data security part. How can we protect our data security with some additional of course. I'm learning from other industry, banking industry, financing industry. They pay millions of dollars for data security issues every year, which is really important agenda to take care of the within financing industry. Sooner or later, RE industry or any industry that we are more and more digitalizations, this will be a cost to pay. But how can we balance it between the cost to pay for data security that the engineering side will be more and more efficient, will be having lower and lower LCOE, then this part will actually compensate back of paying some. We need to, but additional cost that we need to pay for the data security. I would say that it's not only from developer or asset owner, it will be from the whole ecosystem, including regulators as well, to pay attention to the data security.
Yeah, sorry, and if I may add, of course, from the technological standpoint, we do have firewalls. Yeah, so these are things that, of course, people will start to say, but then you may have a backdoor access, so on and so forth. The debate, to be very frank, is going to be quite long drawn out. But one thing I'd like to draw is that, as far as I recall, the UK, when it came to 5G, the UK actually had a collaboration with Huawei, and it actually involved their MI6 as well as all their different intelligence agency. And Huawei actually open booked the whole entire back end. So I think that is as far as transparent as you can get. I can't draw it in parallel to Malaysia. I'm not sure if Malaysia ever did ask for that. But I believe that if they did, we are more than happy to do so. I mean, there's nothing really much for us to hide in that sense. So, thank you.
Thank you for the replies. Okay, we can take another question. Does anyone else have a question? Just raise your hand. One more question? Anyone? No? We can't let these gentlemen off so easily. Do you have one more question? Okay, I guess if there are no more questions, gone. Okay, well then we shall proceed to say on behalf of SEDA, Huawei and JJ Lab, thank you very much to our guest speakers, Davis and James, for their valuable insights and for your time, of course. As a token of our gratitude, we'd like to present them with a memento each. So to present the mementos, can I invite Dr. Wardati binti Mohammad Razi,